podcast. I have two new guests today. I have Lincoln-Way Central's Billy Erdakos and Zach Wolfe, the 2022 IBN state champions, coming up next.
Yep.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Kraken Lair podcast. I have two really cool guests from Lincoln-Way Central High School, and Billy is no longer a high school kid. He is now in college, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we have Billy Erdakos. Got that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and Zach Wolfe. I have 8 questions for you, but I have a feeling we're going to open up more, and I feel like that's okay, because you know what, I just get into it and it starts getting to be really fun, so why not? And we're going to go in alphabetic orders. Billy, you'll be first. If you want to chime in on something else, go ahead. Let's just have some fun. All right, just a little resume on both of these kids. I'm kind of gonna mix up their resume together, because I once I was doing some statistics, I was looking at it, I'm like, man, this is really cool stuff. So in season 1, Zach and Billy both fished ICASSTT events. They weren't together. They kind of had different partners. They are 1 year apart. Zach is currently a senior in high school. Zach is a 2-time all-state angler. Billy is a 1-time all-state angler. Kind of ended with the bang, had a really good season, and deserved everything he got, because once we go over the resume, you guys will understand how good these kids really were, and how good your team actually really was too. Some of the kids that are not even in this podcast right now that are your teammates were also really good. In Clash season 1, Billy's team for the Clash took 2nd place, and I think, Billy, if I remember, you did fish with Lyndon at season 1 Clash, right? And then Zach's team took 37, so kind of middle of the pack first year. And I think I heard from a little bird, Zach, that the Wolves don't like Clinton Lake.
Oh, I can tell you what happened during the
season. Okay. You know what? Screw it. Just tell us what happened.
Yeah, you
I'll get back to the resume. Whatever. Just get to it.
So we had run up to the cold side, and there's this super low bridge you got to get under. And there's a big area back there, but we had been fishing the bank right behind this bridge, and I set the hook on a fish and jumps off right at the boat. It was like a 4-pounder, and I kid you not, 3 casts later, I set the hook again, fish takes me in a tree and breaks me off, and I about snapped my rod. Oh. We probably could have qualified for nationals had we got those 2 fish.
So obviously those 2, I mean, you guys know how it is when you catch a fish. It's the domino effects positively, how it just kind of builds that confidence, and you just kind of go with it. And then if you miss a fish, it can make or break it. And then if you miss 2 fish, like, it's almost like you quit, right? Mentally. Man, that sucks.
Yeah.
So do you really hate Clinton Lake, or is it?
Yep.
Okay.
I've never done good there. I mean, my record shows that. So.
Yeah. Nah, it's okay. Like, it happens, and that's the cool thing about the ICASS series, right? Because we travel all over the state, and you kind of get to flex your muscles on the bodies of water that you guys enjoy, and then you get to test your abilities at the other bodies of water, which I think
everywhere.
it's a
Especially for
super
us being up north, we're traveling down south for so many tournaments last
yeah
year.
yeah.
That
And
was fun.
we'll get to season 2. You literally went to every
Yeah.
single event, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about why you did that and how it benefited. And I think that's a good thing. So back to season 1, on our very first large tournament, which would have been Springfield. Zach, your team took 15th, and that was a pretty good finish because it was the biggest ICAST event at the time. Top 20, I think anytime you're in the top 20 for any event, when you have 40 or 50 boats larger in the field, I think that's just a respectable finish, because it proves that you are a good angler. You did well. Obviously, you're not in the top 10, top 5, but the consistency kind of is going to show in a little bit once I read off the other stuff. And then we went to Bangs. I don't know if people probably forgot that we went to Bangs.
I think at Springfield, I took 11th for that season.
Did I miss that one?
I'm pretty sure I took 11th there.
Well, so there you go. No,
because I'm pretty sure that's where I qualified for state.
I think they did better than me that.
Okay,
yeah, that's where I qualified for state that first year.
Look at that. Perfect. So I'm going to write this right here. Erdakos takes 11th. And so there you go. It's going to go with the theme of literally the next like 10 events. So Zach's team 15th, Billy's team 11th, literally just right there at the exact same time. Bangs, I have Zach at 17th place. That was a small boat field, but still top 20. I think top 20, anytime you do a top 20, you're good. And Billy, you had 18th. You literally finished right behind Zach's team. And then Zach, the best event for you was on the Fox, where you guys took first. Billy, I don't recall a top 20 finish on that one. Okay,
yeah, I didn't fish that event.
So very small sample size on season 1. I'm pretty sure Lincoln-Way Central didn't fish a lot of the fall events, and then they just kind of took off during the spring, and that's pretty much where we kind of started getting more of the Lincoln-Way Central teams involved. And then season 2, we kind of changed things up, and we introduced what's called Team of the Year, which this team, Lincoln-Way Central, your guys' high school, ended up winning Team of the Year. And that to me was a great race, because the entire time from event 1 all the way to the very end, you were in first. And the cool thing, and we talked about it at the All-State Awards, is you guys were so close to losing it at the class championship, because at the time Billy and Lyndon didn't technically qualify. And what happened, the reason why they were able to qualify is there was multiple teams that were passing up the event because they couldn't show. So I'd have to go back to the events that those individual teams declined, and I go to the next boat, contacted them, they couldn't go, contacted them, that school, I think that kid, one of those kids was like ineligible. And then the third boat was Billy and Lyndon's boat. And then when I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm super excited for this. And I remember, Zach, I think I texted your dad at like 11:40 p.m. And I'm thinking he's either going to like jump up, enjoy, like, and text me back, or he's sleeping, then he's going to wake up to an awesome message. And I'm pretty sure he woke up to an awesome message and probably texted you guys.
I woke up to a phone call that next morning.
There you go.
He woke up about like 6:45, 7 o'clock. I woke up to him calling me going, well, you're fishing next weekend. Be ready. I was like, sounds good.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I was super happy for you, because now, even again, I was happy for you then, because I feel like we always talked at the weigh-ins. You guys were super cool. You're personable, and it's like you had that good personality. You're a wrestler. I love wrestlers. I feel like when you wrestle, like, I mean, you have this type of mentality and personality that you're just kind of like a killer instinct, which I like. I mean, I just biased because that's what I do and what's what I did. So going to season 2, let's get our finishes at Shabana. Billy's team took 6th, Zach's team took 8th. At the Cal Sag, which I think this is Zach's favorite fishery, right?
Yep, by
All
far.
right. Yeah, by far. I remember him messaging me on Instagram saying, we got to have a Cal Sag in the spring. We got to have a Cal Sag in the spring. And we tried. It's just very difficult with permits and with the spring. And if it rains and it doesn't rain, rivers are kind of tough to figure out. But
yeah, but all the tournament circuits going out of there too. There's a tournament every weekend.
Right. Yeah, I think the Cal Sag, the adult tournament series, yeah, they have a good one going out of there. So it's always busy, and it just didn't work out for us. But you took third, and then Billy's team took 17th. So again, top 10, top 5, top 20, and then move on to Springfield. Billy's team took 11th. So you took 11 twice. Look at that. Is that look at that?
I think so, yeah.
Lucky 11. And then Zach's team, you took third. So that at Springfield's really good. And then pool 13. I don't think, Zach, you fished this one because I remember looking at some of the stats. I feel like just Billy and Lyndon. And then
no, I fished it.
You did?
I don't think I did too well.
Did you fish with the other Zach? Maybe I saw the other Zach's name and then your name.
No, I fished with Joe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel like you fished a lot with Joe. For the most part, season 2, and then you kind of just bounced around for some. And then Jacksonville, you fished by yourself, Zach, took 8th. I still remember the picture where your dad was behind you and holding the fish, and then it looked like you had 4 arms. Kind of funny. And then Billy took 5th place at Jacksonville. So again, another good finish. And then the last event was the Fox Chain, which is kind of like not your back waters, but it's in the north. It's you fished it, and I'm sure you feel confident in it. Obviously, taken first from the previous season. Zach's team finished 13th, and Billy's team finished 15th. So again, you are super close every single time, which is super unique. Which I thought it was kind of cool. And then the last one I have is the Lake of Egypt. Billy's team, you took 15th in that spring one, I believe. And then obviously Billy graduated. And then season 3, Lincoln-Way Central is kind of like the relief of like, oh, don't travel every event. You guys didn't sign up for a lot of events, but you fished 2 events that you finished pretty well, Zach. And the Kankakee Displays, you took 5th place. And obviously we're a brand new partner. And at the Fox again, 15th. So 2 15ths, Billy. And then so yeah, but the fall, I feel like for season 3, you and your dad fished a lot of BFLs, right?
Yeah, we were up in Michigan, St. Clair.
So I think that's the cool thing. And if you guys don't know and you have time, go check out a Chicago Sun-Times. You guys just had a really cool article about you. So if you get a chance, make sure you check that out. It's kind of a really neat thing. So kind of going into, I saw some of this, the writing in the article that it seemed like you and your dad didn't really have a father-son like specific thing, but it was more like big brother, little brother, military. I feel like that's what your dad said. So it seemed like you guys
oh yeah.
You can ask my partner.
Yeah, you should just listen to him when we're fishing.
Oh, I bet.
It's mostly when we're not catching fish.
Yeah.
If we're catching them, it's usually pretty good. But if we're not catching them, it's just like friends on a boat. I mean, it's like me and Zach will have our talk, but then like he'll talk kind of like to his dad a little bit. It's awesome.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's cool because it's like, I mean, you'll see when you guys are older. You obviously are really young, but you're going to get closer to your family because family just gets closer and closer the older we get. So it's kind of cool that you already have this kind of big brother, little brother relationship, but obviously he's still your dad. So that's really neat. And it would have been cool. I mean, I did watch some of the videos you guys sent, and I was like, oh, this is cool stuff. This is some really cool stuff. Except for the one where you guys had your shirts off. I'm like, what the heck? What is this? Like, what is it? What is it, like 1,000 degrees?
Put that in.
I'm not putting that in. All right, fine. I'll put it in. Whatever. I don't care. All right, let's get into the questions and the actual 8 questions, even though whatever. If we go off tangent, just keep watching. All right, so this team, Billy fished a lot with Lyndon. I think that was a really cool combination. You two were pretty much the same group the entire time. I feel like I've never seen you with another partner, unless Lyndon couldn't be there in an event. Zach, you were for the most part with Joe a lot, and then you were a couple times with different partners here and there. But for the IBN, which in 2022, you two combined together and won the IBN Classic Championship, which double qualified you to nationals that year because you qualified through us. Zach did, right? And then both you guys combined to the IBN, and then you qualified for that. So that was really neat. So to me, that was cool because it kind of showed that you almost like made an all-star team, not really an all-star team because that's not the right word, but you made kind of a really unique team together at the IBN and just performed so well. Like for that event, I want to know, it's kind of like your backyard, sort of, kind of. It is, right?
It's like a 35-minute drive. So
yeah.
We're not the closest ones to it, but we're definitely not the furthest.
Right. So how confident were you guys going into this event? So and we'll start off with Billy. How confident were you guys going into this event? How confident were you, like, we're gonna do this? Or was it like we need to qualify because I want to go? And this was a couple weeks after the clash, correct?
Yeah. So obviously the biggest thing was qualify, but that's kind of like it's. I don't know. I don't want to say it sounds cocky, but the reason we fished the IBN together was to go to nationals, and in all reality, do what we did in the state tournament, which was come out on top. But we kind of just wanted to work together, and just like we always did good, like on other boats, and we were like, I don't know. We're always talking, throwing ideas off each other. You bounce stuff when your teams and you have separate boats. You try to have both boats do good. And so we're like, why don't we combine now our two heads together and just see what we can do? And then it worked.
Yeah, that's really cool because I like how you explain it. It's just kind of like, kind of like in a poker game. You just going all in and let's just go, right? Really cool. I'm going to just quickly do my ADD. Check out this new hat. Finally came in the mail. I like have a legit hat. I should start making some products, right? And just keep wearing it. Yeah.
Some sweatshirts.
Yeah, I need to. I love my Carhartt sweatshirt. We're not sponsored by Carhartt, but I would love to be sponsored by Carhartt because their stuff is awesome. So if Carhartt you're watching, which I highly doubt because we only got 30 viewers, but yeah, that'd be great. So Zach, for you, how confident were you going into the IBN Classic Championship and thinking, we got this, I got this, teaming up with Billy and we're just going to slay it?
Well, Billy had said at the beginning of the year that we were going to win it no matter what. So that already got me confident. And then we had went out and practiced 2 or 3 days.
I think it was 3, Monday through Wednesday.
And we found a bunch of fish, and it was just me and Billy on the boat. So my dad wasn't there. So we had found all the fish, and it was at that point I knew we had a shot just because we did so well in practice. But day two was a little bit of a struggle in the morning. We only had 2 good fish that we wanted to keep in. And then we had decided to fish a bank that we never fish and practice. And that's where we did all our damage day 2.
Nice. Yeah, so it's sometimes taking a little risk and pays off for sure, right? What place were you guys in? What place were you guys in after day 1?
So we were in 7th.
7th?
Yeah, we were way back. So like we kind of like after day 1, we're like, oh, we got to shoot for the stars now. We're like, let's just go out there and catch them. And then we rolled up to our first spot on day 2, caught 2 keepers that were like, okay, fish. And we're like, all right. But then it stopped. The day shut off till like, I mean, it was probably late. I don't know what the time was, but
it was probably 10.
It was like 10:30 before we caught another fish even. Okay. And then it was like, it just happened. Everything was like, let's just do it. Like, I don't know.
That's cool. It's cool fun. I think it's cooler that you were farther back and not we're in first, we're in second, and we just kind of pad our lead. That's also really cool because it's less stressful. I think the being in seventh place and then shooting for the stars is just like, rolling up your sleeves and like, let's do this, right? It almost gives you that confidence of like, or not confidence because you were in seventh, but it gives you that, just like that swagger that you're like, we're gonna do this.
I mean, we had said that the night, or maybe it was that morning, that we were just going to go out and have fun because we had already been qualified, and we just had music blasting all day.
Yeah.
Went out and did our thing.
Oh, that's right, because Joe couldn't fish nationals, right? So you guys got approval from Bass to have Billy replace Joe.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Now that I remember that because I remember because that could happen, right? Obviously, not everybody can make the national tournament because whether they're in the military or I think Joe was starting school or leaving for school early. And the rule in Bass is if they fish the series and they get approval from Bass, then you're allowed to kind of substitute a partner. I know when my team went to nationals, we had to do that, which it worked out well for those two kids because they were brothers, so it worked out really well. So that's right. So you guys are already qualified, so it was even more let's have fun and just shoot for the stars. So that's probably what got you guys loose, and then just said whatever happens.
Exactly. It was a place we were confident on, comfortable on. I mean, we fished there probably 10 plus times last year, so it was like that place is fun.
Yeah.
It's a weird style of fishing. When you learn how to do it, it's fun.
I will say when I did boat and coach, that body of water, we always failed, and I felt bad because I thought I could have helped more. And obviously, I don't fish with the kids; do it. But man, I could not have figured that place out, and that's not far from us either. It's kind of like same to you. It's like the 35-minute drive. It was just a tough fishery. We just never can figure it out, and it was very tough. Here's the funny thing. This is what's going to happen. We're going to have to do 3 Zooms because I already got a 6-minute warning because Zach was fumbling with his computer. This is going to be awesome. All right, there you go. On his PC, getting ready to go. This is what we get when we have free Zoom. We have to take little mini breaks. So sorry, listeners, but I'm just not paying for it. All right. Question 2, already taking a halftime because we're just having so much fun. All right. Going back to Billy, you've been an angler so this doesn't really pertain to you as much because this one's more for Zach. So I'm going to go to Zach, and while Zach has answers, I'm just going to improv a question for you. Just on the top of my head. So Zach, you've been an angler with kind of many different partners, with Joe for the most part on season 2 and a season 1 as well. But then you kind of had, mix and match here and there. And then also with season 3, does this affect you in any way? Or is it one of those things where you can adapt really easily and it is what it is?
It doesn't really affect me too much. You just try and do my part and catch fish. I mean, sometimes that doesn't work out, but I just try my best.
Yeah, that's good that the mentality is it doesn't affect you. So, and looking at the finishing, I feel like it really didn't affect you. I mean, there's that one you fished by yourself, so obviously you kind of know your stuff, which helps out your partner, and when you have that partner, right? So yeah. I guess go ahead.
You're gonna see me fishing solo a lot this year because my partner's playing baseball, so he'll be missing a lot of the Saturday tournaments, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, that sucks. But you know what? It's kind of cool to kind of end your season year or your senior year with just you and your dad on the boat. And
I don't know, we might kill each other.
They might rip each other's heads off, or they might win another state title. I don't know. I told him he should fish solo all year and try it.
Just try it. Oh yeah. Man.
I told him, if you can't find anybody, you gotta fish solo.
It's gotta be mentally taxing though after a while, right? Like when
I
you're not
think,
catching a fish.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes when you're fishing and you're not doing well, and then all of a sudden your partner catches a fish and they say net or whatever, it kind of gives you more motivation. Like, all right, here we
Yep.
go. Like
Mhm.
I have to fish better. And I know people don't understand I have to fish better because they're just like, what do you mean? You just throw your lure out there? No, you like
No.
zone in more into what you're doing. You try to feel what you're doing, and you do what the kids say nowadays, lock in, right?
And because you want to catch a bigger bass than your partner. I mean, that's
Yeah.
always goal number one.
Yeah.
Bragging
Yeah.
rights on the boat's the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be harder to qualify this year. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I, I'm trying to qualify through the Northerns, but the one I'm really worried about is Heideke because I did not do good there last time.
Yeah. Well, we have a smaller field, so 40
Yep.
compared to what we had, I think 60. So there'll be more, square footage for you to fish without having people on top of you.
Yeah.
So that should help. All right. So Billy, I actually did have a question. It was just the second part. I obviously just can't read my own notes. So Billy, you are notoriously with the same guy, which is Linden. And the perks of that compared to switching, what are the pros? And then there's probably got to be some cons too. So I mean, lay it down. Linden's not here live. He's just gonna have to watch this later and text you later and see like, what's up, dude?
I mean, I would say definitely the perks of it would come down to the matter if you're used to fishing with that guy. He knows how I'm going to fish. I know how he's going to fish. I mean, that for sure helps. There's definitely cons to it too, because you're not mixing it up. The ideas eventually you're going to be like kind of dry on ideas because a lot of your stuff's going to be similar when you're fishing together for 4 years straight. And like we kind of learned like tournament bass fishing more of, I'd say, because obviously you fish before, but tournament bass fishing, you learn fishing tournaments. That's the best way to do it, I think.
Yeah.
So we learned that while doing it. So a lot of the stuff we're learning is together. So a lot of stuff similar. Then it's like I switched with Zach and he's doing all this different stuff. And it's like I do this stuff. So then you combine that. That for sure helps when you start mixing it up too. But I think fishing with one guy for sure helps to learn when you're more like, I don't want to say beginner, but for sure beginner.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to get confidence at your home lakes. But then when you start moving around, you need to be mixing it up with people.
Yeah.
You got to learn different styles, how to do everything.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no one way to fish. You're not going to win. You're not going to see success on the higher levels of the game if you're not fishing every kind of way.
And the cool thing is now you're fishing the higher levels, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just had an event, was it a couple weeks ago in Florida?
Yeah, I was down at Harris Chain in January.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you're just fishing all types of bodies of water, which is neat. And Zach, obviously you fish BFLs and you fish different bodies of water as well. And like, here, break the news. You just committed to go and where next year?
Carson Newman.
Nice. So we got 2 college anglers right here. I think you're the first 2 college anglers on the podcast. Yeah. So we have another Illinois kid, Simone Petone, right?
Yep.
Shimon.
He's down there.
Shimon. That kid, I wish he would have fished more because he was really good.
Yeah, he catches them.
Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. I totally forgot that we have. I mean, the Illinois kids going to college to fish is booming so much, and I'm so pumped about seeing that because like now we get to see more and more Illinois kids just dominate. Normally it's always Texas, Florida, Tennessee. So it's really cool to see all of this stuff, and it's just exciting. And I'm super jealous because I mean, obviously I went to college but I didn't play sports. You guys get to fish and do college. Like that's amazing. I hate you guys, but that's amazing.
I think that's part of the reason that you helps keep your head in college too, though, and focus on the schoolwork.
Yeah.
Fishing. You're here to fish, so you got to do what you got to do to keep fishing.
Yeah, that's good. And Billy, your school is a 2-year school, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of got to make the most of it for those 2 years, and then
Hmm.
hopefully get a plan going to finish the last two.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's exciting. So you get to learn even more from other kids eventually in the future. So that I
It's
think that's
also,
really
yeah,
cool.
with being a freshman with the 2-year program, it's also helping because I'm getting fished a lot more than if I went to a big 4-year school, like
Yeah.
one of those McKendrees or something that have 50 people on the team. We signed 10 guys. We're down to 9 now for this semester. So we have 9 guys fishing all the
Okay.
events we're sending boats to. You send 3 boats, that's more than half your team.
That's true. I never really thought of it that way. Where you're right. And if you go to a 4-year school, like, yeah, obviously you can
They're
start.
earning, you got
Yeah,
to earn your spot a lot more at a school like McKendree
yeah.
or those places where you got to fish those inter squad tournaments that some of the, I don't want to say it's bogus, but some of them are on those lakes that are close to the school that those people have practice on. And what's that
Yeah,
matter compared to Florida and
right.
compared to Ozarks and places like that?
Yeah, yeah. So it's yeah, you're right. Pros and cons for sure.
Yeah.
Zach, how many is your school a 4-year university or is it a 2-year?
Yeah, it's a 4-year.
Okay, so you're probably going to see the same thing, and kind of have to work at it to get yourself on it. So, yeah, that's right. Really good points. I like it. See, we're just gonna improv everything. We might start talking about other things besides fishing, because you know what? If I rewatch all these like at least 3 times throughout the whole week. Like I watch it
Yeah.
when I edit the videos, and then I watch it again and once it's done. And like the entire time I'm watching it, I'm literally laughing, like laying on my bed, just because of all the conversations we had. I'm like, man, that was so funny. I remember that. It's like it happened 5 minutes ago, dummy. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm just so giddy with this stuff. It's such a cool thing. I'm so happy I started this. Obviously this is not my comfort level. Everybody's like, oh, you're so natural at this. This is not my comfort level. I hate cameras. I hate posting stuff on the internet. I'm not a internet type of person. So like to do this, I literally have stepped out of my comfort zone. But you know what? This is not about me. We are moving on to the next question. All right. I'm starting to like this question, and it's becoming like one of my norm questions for everybody. Billy, what is your favorite style of fishing? And now that you're fishing other bodies of water, have you picked up a different style of fishing, or you're just like, I got my go-to, this is what I do?
100% favorite style of fishing's got to be spotted bass fishing. I mean, live scoping those bass, when you see 40 torpedoes shooting up at your bait, there's nothing cooler. I mean, we're sitting there, you're watching your Garmin, just cranking that little swim bait, cranking your big mag draft, whatever it is, and you just see freaking bass just flying.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
that's so cool. Yeah, and that's a game changer, right?
Oh
The
Yeah.
live. I mean,
I love
it's almost like everybody has it, and like if you don't have it, that's shame on you. Just get it, right? Everybody else is getting it. I think one in the future they're talking about, like, oh, what do you think they're going to get rid of it? I don't think they're going to get rid of it. They might say make some adjustments off it, but you know what? Like if you know how to, why fault somebody because they know how to read electronics, right? You still got to catch the fish. So, but
100%. You
to
still
me,
got to put
that's,
your bait near them.
yeah, and then
You still got to find where they're staying.
right, yeah, it's not just like, oh, I'm here. My life scope shows 7 fish. Like they might not be bass, right? I mean, it's hard to tell if they're a bass, right? Obviously, or am I wrong?
Sometimes, I mean,
Sometimes, yeah.
you can definitely see fish, but a lot of times you can be looking at drum, you can be looking at other things. You never know.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. So Zach, favorite style of fishing? Why? Has it changed because you went to the BFLs and then you got the taste of some big bodies of waters? It was all smallmouth fishery, right?
Yep.
So I
Well,
feel, yeah.
see, it kind of depends if I'm fishing for largemouth or smallmouth. I like throwing a topwater, like a topwater frog or something for largemouth.
Yeah.
But one thing I picked up recently, with this past year, was throwing either a jigging spoon or a blade bait for smallmouth because they just hit it like a freight train.
Wow, blade bait. That's like, oh, so old school.
Yep.
When I think of the blade bait, I think of the Red Devil.
It's something that happens early spring, like March through or mid-April ish. So it's
That's
pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody that has ever fished for smallmouth complains about smallmouth.
No, you can't. They're
You
so
can't.
much fun.
Yep.
They're like little Tasmanian devils,
Oh, yeah.
right?
They're
Like
crazy.
there's like little muscle heads. That's what they are. That's
I've had a few of them that have hooked and they've jumped in the boat for me.
because they're so freaking strong. I mean, that's
Yep.
cool. You didn't have a video of that one?
No, that actually happened on St. Clair.
Ah, I still want it. No, I'm just kidding.
Can't give away the St. Clair spots now.
That's true.
I don't
Yeah,
even know where I was.
true.
Somewhere along the mile roads. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man, this so good. All right, Billy, you're in college, so besides the travel, the bodies of water, how different is college fishing so far?
Way different. I mean, this is the real deal now. That's the best way to put it. This
Yeah,
isn't high school. I mean, everyone's here and they belong. A lot of people belong to be here. And
yeah,
there's a lot of people that have skill. I mean, everyone's here to learn to try to get to that next level.
yeah.
I don't see why you'd want to be here if you weren't. That's how I see it. I mean, if you're going to work at this and put like all your time, money, grinding hours on your computer, researching, why not want to be the best? So
I like
I don't know.
I like it. Yeah, it's well said. Well
It's
said.
just
for
a
sure.
way different. It's so I love it. This is the greatest thing so far.
So, do you think high school, at least now ICASS, and again, I'm very biased towards ICASS, but do you think it prepared you a little bit, or
I
is
think
it
high school
just
prepared me a major amount of learning that beginning of tournament fishing
okay?
and learning tournament fishing, how it works, how like you got to learn how to fish around people, fish the pressure, fish all
Yeah,
this. It's a huge player. I mean, you're fishing 2 day events where these fish have seen baits in the
yeah,
past 24 hours. You got to learn how to fish around people and just it the biggest player. If you didn't fish high school, coming here and just trying to go straight to tournaments, I think would be one of the hardest things. I think it'd be almost impossible to
impossible.
just go
Yeah,
in blind. It'd be
yeah,
almost impossible. If you have no experience, I don't know how you could succeed and
and
do well.
I don't think they would fish, right, unless it was a brand new program that just needed anglers.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of prestigious anglers nowadays from high school too. So it's like people want to be here for sure.
Yeah.
And fishing is growing. It's on the rise. And
Yeah,
it's
cool.
getting to the level where it's very possible to make money in this game for a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's a neat way to do it, because if you go that path, you're a professional athlete. I don't care what people want to say, but you are a professional athlete if you become one of the Bass Elites or MLF Bass Pro Tour. Like, that's a professional athlete. You're competing long times, driving hours, putting work. I mean, there's a lot of homework that goes into fishing before you actually even get to physically fish. So
90% of your time is not spent on the water.
yeah. And it's probably even harder now, right, Billy? Because it's way more homework compared to the Illinois fisheries.
Well, and plain and simple, these kids are good. I mean, I came to college and some of these kids on my team, these kids are good fishermen. Like, there's a lot of good fishermen in this game now. It's awesome to see.
It's so cool.
The competition is, I love competition. I've always done competition sports. So it's like, this is just more competition to me. Like, I don't know. This is what I live for.
You were a wrestler. That's one-on-one competition. Like, you can't get more competitive than a freaking wrestling match. Like, and if you've never wrestled, go wrestle somebody and let me know how it feels. After 6 minutes, you're like, oh, that sucks. You won't last 6 minutes.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. You're going to last 10 to 15 seconds.
You'll get up and you're like, what happened? You just got beat up, right? So, so obviously, Zach, you're going to college next year, but you're still fishing in the high school, right? You fish your BFLs. What do you think you can learn from your friends that are in college, like Billy and Lyndon. You probably should text Lyndon just so he can peek his head in the
He's
back.
not here right now. It's Lyndon's birthday. It's actually Lyndon's birthday tomorrow.
What the heck? Hey, Lyndon,
Illinois.
happy birthday, buddy. What is he, 19?
Yep.
Okay, he's getting closer. Yeah, that's awesome. So now that you got buddies, right? You got a couple buddies that were at your school fishing college, right? You have other friends that you know that went to Illinois, that are from Illinois, current around like your home area that are fishing. What can you take from them? Their advice, their experience. Obviously, you'll learn firsthand next year, but what can you take from them?
Probably just learning how to adjust to the conditions. That was one thing that really killed us at nationals. It went from 90 and sunny all 3 days of practice to 75 and cloudy, and those spots just spread out the spotted bass, and it was tough to even get them to bite when it was cloudy. And then another thing, I guess this is more towards Shimon. The lakes down in East Tennessee, they fluctuate like 30-40 feet between the winter and spring, or the winter and summer. So I think that's definitely going to be a big learning curve, but already having people there is going to cut that in half.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Normally we have our halftime, but since we just love to chat, we're just going to keep going. And if we have to have another halftime a little bit later, then we have to have another halftime, but we're just going to run into it. So I think I want to hear something funny on this one. So funniest fishing story during the tournament. I want like embarrassments or whatever you experience. Billy, what is the funniest fishing story during a tournament?
I see. That's a weird question. When I read that question, I didn't really know how you answer
You're
that.
probably like,
I don't really have. When it comes to funny, it's like I don't really have funny. Obviously, you got what you talk about, stuff like that. Like most of the stuff you talk about stays on the boat.
Yeah,
like,
you don't. Yeah, it's like Vegas.
Funny stuff. Like probably one of the funniest things that happened to me is like last year at Lake the Ozarks in the fall. We're running back. And then it's like you're hitting waves out there. They're pretty bad in the afternoon. And then I just see 3 Lawrences come flying down the front deck. So that was probably one of the funniest moments because we're like, I'm going to say bleep because I don't know if you're swearing here.
Oh, I'll bleep it out. I downloaded
We're stopping the boat. Yeah, we're stopping. We stopped the boat. I'm diving on the front deck trying to not let these things fly off. So that was pretty cool.
See, now that's interesting. That's a funny story. I mean, it's not super funny, but like, it's still funny. Like
I've never had like a story where I've like, I don't know, hit someone with a rod and across the face. Or like funny stories.
I mean, I've got a couple like swinging a fish in and hit my co-angler, like tying a hook to a piece of line that's not my line and just throwing it over. I've done that a couple times. Let's see, at IBN or ICASSTT, when we had 15 pounds in the box, my dad was off the back of the boat tossing bread to ducks.
It's such an old man thing to do. I can't wait to text him later.
He's getting ready to retire now.
Yeah, that's right.
And then there was one time we were out on St. Clair, me and my dad. We were fishing pre-practicing for a tournament, and it's flat, calm, and like at the launch ramp. And we go out just past the channel. It just starts going to 4-footers, and we have the GoPro footage of it. There's a couple in there that we speared straight through the waves, and it's just white water all through the camera.
I got some PTSD when it comes to 4-footers. Oh, I mean, when that happens, it's scary. Like, it's scary.
I've been out in some pretty bad stuff.
Yeah, especially you said that was St. Clair when you had those. Yeah. I mean, that's notorious for having big white caps,
big waves.
Like yeah,
we go out.
And they have random waves from the yachts out there too.
Yep.
Yeah.
We go out of Hammond a lot fishing for like cohos and smallies.
Yeah.
There was it was the first day we went out. It was flat calm in the morning. By the time we were running back, it was like 10:30, 11, and it was just straight 10-foot rollers. Like
Oh,
it was pretty bad.
get me home on that 10-footers.
That's
Yeah, it
not
was
getting home.
crazy.
That's a slow run home.
Ooh.
Yeah, we were probably running like 35. Because I mean, they're super spread out because they're just rollers. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's pretty scary when they're
Yeah.
pushing you in 50 feet.
That's man. It's a good thing for life jackets, but still, it's still not fun to go through. Like if you've never gone through 2, 3, 4, 5, I can't even imagine a 10-footer. Like
Maybe they weren't 10, but they were
They're probably
they were
like
at least
they're
no, they were
12.
bigger than
They're
6 to
12.
7. 6 to
They're-
7.
they were probably 6 to 8.
17.
I mean, they were some big rollers.
This is a
That's
freaking
the worst I've been
typhoon.
in. But that was because there was a north wind. If it was a south wind, we wouldn't have had that problem.
yeah, that's right. Oh man. All right. So at the Clash, we had some hot weather. So I want you guys to explain your Clash tournament. Both of you had different experience. Billy, you and Lyndon. I remember seeing you guys out there, and I was taking pictures. You guys were kind of grinding. I remember asking you guys how you doing. They're like, it's we're getting after, or we're grinding. I can't remember the phrase you were saying, but it pretty much was telling me like we're not doing.
I'm gonna keep
so
pushing
hot.
it. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep pushing.
So explain your experience on that one. Obviously, super excited to get to the Clash.
I mean, yeah.
But the
Springfield
outcome
was one of those. It was one of those places for me. It's like during the spring, I could go there and catch them. I've been there in the spring, but I never fished there that time of the year. I'd say it was more summery. Like I never really fished there in that heat or anything. So I tried all the stuff that I had for the spring. Obviously, I hate fishing my past. I don't rely on past, but that's when you have 2 days of practice, you start off with some of the old things that worked because that's just what you try. And then like none of that was working. So we just said scramble the rest. And then after that, we just grinded out 2 days of not very fun fishing. I mean, it was our bites were very sporadic, but it was like I was getting somewhat quality bites doing what I was doing, catching these 2.5s. So I was like, there's a chance for sure. But and then I found my one little cove way up the lake that I started on day one that we caught 2 out of. But that was a tough tournament for me. And it was kind of, I mean, I ended up catching a limit both days, but I think day 2, we caught our limit with 20 minutes left.
Oh.
So it was like, I grinded both days for my bites. Yeah. I called maybe one time day 1. Like
the grinding
that was a tough tournament for me.
Yeah. The grinding part is a mental beatdown, right? Especially when you're not calling. Like when you start calling by 10 a.m., you're like, we got this. We can hang, right? We'll figure this out. And it's kind of like how you said you don't like to fish your past. You had 2 11th place finishes, different time of the year, right? Both were spring. And this one was, it felt like summer because it was like 97 degrees. It was so hot, so hot.
I think the fish were probably a little bit deeper than what I was doing for that tournament. And that was my fault. I've definitely became, now being in college, way more of a deep water fisherman. I'm a lot more confident out deep. Back home, it's a lot more shallow work. Out here, I mean, I live in Michigan now, so it's live scope out here. That's what you do. So it's like, I for sure think that living out here now, if I came back home, it'd be a game changer knowing how to fish deep and get those 3 to 4 bites out deep that you can get to help fill around that big one you catch shallow then.
Yeah, and
that would help a lot.
That's the cool thing about getting that experience, right? Because you're forced to learn a different way.
You just look back on things, you're like, I could have done this so much differently.
Yeah. Welcome to the old man world. It's going to get worse, Billy, in about 6 years. Maybe, hopefully for you, 15 to 20 years. Because that means you're being successful in the fishing world. But yeah, it's the whole woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? I went to my nephew's wrestling sectional yesterday, and he's in single A, and I wrestled 3A. And I look at my brother, I'm like, can you imagine if we wrestled in this tournament? And he's just like, it's different world, right? So but yeah, the woulda, coulda, shouldas definitely happens, and that's a cool thing. That's the experience you try to teach other people, and you get better, you learn, and you make others around you better. So for sure. So in Zach, I don't even think I said your class resume. You guys took 7th or 6th? 6th.
6th. Yeah.
6th. So rewind, season 2, clash finish 6th place, and that was an all-star of all-star anglers. It, like, compared to season 1, like there were some really good kids fishing Springfield, and the weights were really awesome on day
They were
one.
a lot better than I was expecting.
Yeah, when the
way better.
When they came in, I'm like, what body of water are we in? Are we in Springfield? Like, it's crazy. So how, like, your experience, explain like how you went, because obviously it went differently for you.
Well, we started off fishing history as well, day 1. And when we realized that wasn't going to happen, we went offshore. Offshore bite was still kind of iffy. I mean, we got a couple bites, but it wasn't anything that was going to stick. So we found specific banks, and I stuck a spinning rod in my hand all day. And it was tough, but it was something that I thought I had to do to catch these fish.
Now, if you don't mind sharing, or maybe you don't want to share because you still fish and you share.
Yeah.
Maybe Billy will share.
I can't share either.
You can't.
No,
share
I can
either.
share a couple. We can share some things, but it's like certain baits. It's like for sure.
No, yeah.
Certain baits for sure. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
certain
not
things. It's like no chance.
I love.
That's just the fishing game. That's the fishing game.
I love it. It's so
I mean, I didn't throw another bait. I stuck a spinning rod in my hand, and that was the only thing I had in my hand all day.
And if you're a really good angler, you could probably figure out what technique were you doing, right? Because a lot of kids are really smart and they figure out like, oh, that's what they were doing. But even then, I think it's cool that people are now. Are you guys secretive amongst each other as your teammates? Like,
no, I told them everything I was doing.
Okay, so
yeah, we don't. So even in college level, it's like everyone's pretty shared. If you're on the same team, everyone's wanting everyone to do pretty good.
I like it.
Yeah.
So to me, that's when sharing counts. Like, if it's your school, your team, sharing is definitely caring. I know
you got to try to put everyone on fish. You want everyone to have a good time. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you this is the juice spot where I'm catching 20 pounds.
Yeah. Right. But, yeah. That's different. We are going to have to go into our second overtime. So, new record here at the Kraken Lair podcast. 2 overtimes. All right. So, all right. Let's continue. And I'm gonna add more questions. I don't care. We're gonna make this a 7-hour podcast, or until my computer dies out.
Good with that.
Yeah,
you might be the first ever 4 Zoom calls.
Yeah,
in one podcast. I told you we talk forever.
And you know what? People that have watched this, all 38 of my subscribers. Now let's pump those numbers up, people. They tell me like, oh, they're liking the stories that the kids get into because it's descriptive. So yeah, I'm learning, and I almost kind of want to redo the first guys because I'm sure they got some way better stories, based off what I've kind of the experience of doing the podcast. So like, it's definitely really cool. All right, electronics. We kind of touched on this a little bit, but I want to know how big part of electronics was. I guess let's break it down into how big of a part did it play in high school? And obviously, we probably know the answer in college, but like both. Was it the same? Was it different? What is the biggest part, and how good are you with them? And do you need them? Or can you fish without it? I guess that's like 7 questions in one. But Billy, take it away.
Well, electronics are weird for me because in high school, I never fished them till senior year. At the end, like after our senior year, like that ending spring was when we finally put a live scope on Zach's dad's boat. So that's when it was finally like, that's when the game changer finally flipped because we didn't end up getting them. But before that, I never fished the electronics. Every boat I ever fished on never had them. So it's like, even at the Clash, I didn't fish with any electronics. I never needed them in high school.
Yeah.
Obviously they would be great, but they're so important. And now it's like after using them, and I've been getting a lot of practice with them over the past year now, it's like it's the biggest game changer in fishing. I
Yeah.
mean, you can see what you can't see, and that's the best way to put it. I think for electronics is you can't see in water.
Yeah.
It's the
cool.
best thing. I mean,
think that's
they
cool that you
definitely
didn't.
have changed the game
Yeah.
in fishing.
I think that's cool that you didn't use them in high school as much.
Yeah, I didn't
That
use them at all in high
I
school.
think that makes you a better angler
It
than
definitely
what.
teaches you how to catch fish
Yeah.
when you can't see them and how to fish shallow a lot better. I think fish in Illinois, like I said, and I think there's a lot of the reason that Illinois anglers do a lot better in these higher level tournaments because we've learned Illinois people really know how to struggle and fight to catch those fish. It's like our fish are not easy to catch and they're pressured.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of boats every weekend. So it's
I-
like we're frozen half the year up here. So when the lakes
Yeah.
aren't frozen, everyone's fishing.
Fish. Yeah. You know what? It's like the common theme. And I know we've had 3 northern teams talk on this. Let's see, 1, 2. Yeah, you guys are the 3rd northern team. So and even the other kids that are from Central Illinois, like Illinois is just, I mean, it's a common theme. We've said it over and over on this podcast. Like we are grinders. Like the bodies of
It
water.
makes you a better fisherman.
Yeah,
100%.
Yep. It makes
I
you
like
well
it.
rounded, I think.
Yeah.
I like it. I do. I like it. You know that,
Especially with us being the river rats. I love that place too because it's like me and Zach got river experience, true
Yeah.
river experience. So that helps a lot in these river tournaments
for
at the
sure.
college level.
Because like rivers are rivers, right?
Yeah.
That obviously different colors of rivers, the temperatures, depending on where you're at. Obviously, there's a difference between Mississippi and St. Lawrence. But I bet you can find similarities.
But these mean dirty rivers like the Des Plaines River and all like Mississippi and all that. If you look at all of them and how they lay out a lot of them very similar, and a lot of rivers around the country lay out the same way. It's like it's river fishing. It's very a style of fishing, and it's more of these fish are in precision areas. It's not a wide area.
Yeah.
So you got to learn how to find those precision areas and what you're looking for. You got to be very specific on the rivers.
I like it. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So well put. I like it. That's amazing. You're my new best friend, Billy. All right, Zach. Just because you fished without electronics, or in Billy's word, electronics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It's like are you from Illinois? Are you sure?
Yep.
Electronics. It's a unique accent. It's the Erdakos in you.
Yep.
That's what it is. All right, Zach. The electronics for you. What the biggest part? Obviously, Billy kind of touched on a little bit that you guys installed it into your dad's boat. Obviously, you fish out of your dad's boat. How was it before the live scope and after? I'm assuming it's a huge difference, but did it really slow your development down because you're so focused on it, or were you able to pick up on it right away because you got the practice in, or you're just like, I got to figure it out?
So basically this spring we didn't do much at all. We didn't do much of the electronics at all. Sure, we would look offshore a little bit, but it's not like I was still learning up until I'm still learning about it, but I was fresh to it and I just didn't know what I was doing really. Now I think it'll play a huge role for me personally because fishing solo, and I'm fishing solo this year.
Yeah,
If I can
true.
find those fish offshore, no one else really fishes offshore except for some of the summer events.
Yeah.
At least from what I've seen. But that's something that I feel like will play. And I really got to use it a lot on just the southern end of Lake Michigan this year, especially in the fall. I was picking fish off rocks and stuff like that. And then on Hartwell as well, just looking for the cane piles out there, just throwing over them and seeing these fish shoot up for it. It was pretty cool. So I think it'll definitely
you'll
play.
do better at Clinton.
I don't know. I gotta find where those ledges are.
Yeah, right. Like the JCA guy said, he's like, you got to find them.
You know what's funny? I was looking at Navionics. I think I found a couple of them because I was
Okay.
watching it and he mentioned that, and I said I gotta go find those.
Oh, sorry, Brett, but sorry. It's all right. You
I
still
probably
got to
won't
find
even
them.
fish
Yeah,
them.
yeah. You still got to find them. You got to fish them.
I'll probably just end up flipping again.
Oh, stubborn as a mule, baby. I love it. It's just like I'm gonna go back to what I hate to do at Clinton because that's what I like to do.
Because they're there, he just loses them every time. He gets the right bites, just can't get them in the
That's
boat.
right. That's right. You said
Not
you
really. I don't get the bites in the spring.
No.
It's the spring could be hit or miss, right? Because if we hit Clinton Lake on a good weather day, like it could be 20-pound bags. But then there's days where it's just tough, right? Those central kids, the Central Illinois kids, when they fish Clinton, obviously they have a huge advantage, right? Because that's such a cool body of water in their area. That's open longer because of the power plant. So they definitely have a huge experience there, right? Like those are our General Oriana kids. I know St. Teresa did well there. I'm drawing a blank, but those other Central Illinois kids definitely like watch out for those and that's the cool thing about the series, right?
Yep.
I mean, you get your hot spots and your hot lakes and kind of get going.
I think that definitely matters for us, but at the same time, it's like it's kind of same with fishing now at the next level is everyone's got their home bodies of water. So we always kind of went into those tournaments thinking like, I don't care that you live there. I don't care that you're 5 minutes from the ramp. I don't care that you live 3 hours. It's like you're going there to do the best you can. You're in reality going there to win. The plan is to go there and try to win every single time. So it's like we didn't care who was from there or anything like that. We kind of just went there to catch fish and keep our team and team of the year every time.
And you guys did. I mean, you're always in like high middle of the pack. And I don't want to say middle of the pack because that's not the right term because you were in the top 20 almost every single event. And all right, I don't want to go into the last question, but we're here. It kind of sucks. I'm sad. But you know where I'm just gonna slow talk the last question. I'm gonna come up with another question before, so I'm probably not gonna listen to your answer while I'm coming up. But whatever. All right, what are your plans after college, Billy? Is this like I want to make it? I want to see where it takes me. Do you have a specific plan? Do you want to fish BFLs, opens? How far do you really want to take this? And I know a lot of kids answer the same type of question, but I feel like there's a different type of personality in you. And I've noticed it throughout, when I talk to you and in this podcast, you're very driven and you kind of are very like blunt to your answers. So clearly you have a vision of what you want to do.
I mean, obviously I want to make it pro, but that's kind of the simple way to put it. I mean, everyone can say I want to go pro, but you got to have a plan on how you're going to do it and everything. I mean, that's kind of why I'm here right now, these 2 years. The biggest thing with college for me is it's like, I'm here to learn. I'm going to all of these lakes. They're not for free. Nothing's free in life, but very, very cheaply, pretty much for free. And I'm getting experience at all these pro body of waters that all these pros and everyone's fishing where all these big events are going to be at. So it's like, I'm going to take my time here now and try to get my 4 years of fishing out, learn as much as I can. And then after that, I want to go pro. I mean, I'm here to go pro. That's why I'm doing it. So it's like, I want to learn. I want to do that. And it's like, after I'm done with my 4 years of school, I'm probably going to end up working right away just because it's unrealistic to probably have enough money to buy that stuff. But when I get the money, I plan on making it pro.
Yeah, I like it. Your confidence definitely just comes out how you talk. And I like how you said you're here to learn. So anybody that's listening out there, like you have to know, you have to understand that you have to learn. You don't know.
There's always somebody better than you.
Always.
Everywhere.
You have to learn. You can't be that stubborn and say like, I know it all. I'm no, you have to learn. You have to be willing to learn and get better, because you got to get better every single day. I like it. I like it. Dude, Billy, you're becoming one of my favorite kids in just a matter of 3 Zooms. Sorry, Zach. All right, so Zach, you still have your last year in high school, but you are obviously going to college. What are your plans? You fished BFLs already with your dad, and you gotten some experience, but what is your plan? What are you trying to do? Like, be specific and like beat Billy's story, because that was amazing. Got chills.
Well, after college, I want to go pro at some point, and uh, whether it's on the invitationals or the elites, which I would love to fish the elites, mostly because that's what everyone wants to do, is fish the elites and get a blue trophy. But
Those are really
probably
cool.
right after probably right after college, I'm gonna hop in a couple either BFL series, like down in North Carolina, South Carolina,
Yeah.
or fish one of the Toyota divisions, because I feel like that's probably the way to get into the opens, is try and win some money through those, to have enough to fish the opens, because the opens are like, if you add it up, it's at least 50 grand a year, including travel and everything like that.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that it's a pay to play. It's not a pay to play, but it's a pay to earn to.
You got to have money to make money in this game. That's what it comes down
Man,
to.
Billy,
Yep.
you're motivating me. You're like motivating me every time you say something.
Yeah.
We are not ending this podcast. You know what? We are not ending this. I don't care what happens. We're gonna come up with a question. You know what? I want you give me a question. You give me a question.
All right, I got a question.
Yeah,
actually.
let's go. Let's go.
I got a question for the tournament director.
Oh, let's do it.
How has being like a tournament director, have you noticed in like the level of, I want to say just like skill wise over the past, now you're on your 3rd year, what are you noticing? Like, what's the difference in the skill level gap from when you started to now, and the kids alone? It's
amazing, the skill level, like the intelligence that goes into a lot of the pregame and stuff. And obviously I don't see a lot of the pregame stuff, but I see the weigh-ins, right? I see the kids preparing before the launch, and the results, the standings. I mean, I'm obviously always all over the standings, the all-state standings. I see the finishes. I follow a lot of those kids on Instagram. The level from first year to second year to third year is you can't describe how much of a difference and jump that we've seen in a lot of these kids. It's amazing how good all of you really are. And the separation isn't really that much. Like in the IHSA, you guys probably seen this in the IHSA, you can see the separation between those bottom boats and those top 5 boats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like at ICASSTT, there was, maybe you guys probably can agree to this, there's probably 20 boats that probably deserved a top 10 finish at the clash.
Oh yeah, easily.
Look how fast Zach answered that. Easily, some of those kids definitely deserve to be on top. And there's some, and it's going to get even more like crazy with the way it is now, because we're like a standings based series where we just have so many boats that are fishing, so we can't do a percentage of who gets to fish the clash. It's based off standings and like your automatic bids. And so yeah, it's freaking awesome. It's so cool to see like all these different kids, new kids. I mean, they're, especially when the new kids come in that have never fished a series, and then all of a sudden they slay it. You're like, who are you? I need to get to know who you are. Like, I have an addictive personality. So like when something gets really fun and cool, like I go all in. There's no like, there's no like half in it to me. It's all in. Like, so I'm a little crazy. But it's definitely been a blast to watch, and hopefully continue to watch. It's been a blast. So I'm so thankful for you guys for showing up on this podcast. I thank you so much, and I appreciate it for sure.
Of course, absolutely. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, thank you.
And for Billy, good luck in the following season, current season. Zach, good luck in this spring season, and then obviously in the future. But we got some time to get you back onto that All-State mantle. You got some work to do.
We'll see.
To be a 3-timer, it can be done. You just got to win.
You got to start fishing. Yeah, you got to start fishing.
Yeah.
It's going to be tougher this year, I think. I mean, Newton's going to take 20 plus, maybe 25 plus.
I can't wait. I can't wait till we break that 20-pound barrier.
It's at the perfect time.